The moment I try to talk about the Supreme Court being all Catholic or Jewish, and the Catholic people tend to be from like the same place, they tend to be from Washington, D.C., or have a very strong root in Catholic Washington, D.C., Snapchat breaks and I my video doesn't work. But let's think here. There's a throne in the Vatican. If there's anything the Pope can tell me, it's what the throne is for. Or a cardinal could tell me. Like I'm walking with the cardinal in St. Peter's Basilica, and he sees, he's talking about the throne. He's like, yeah, this is great. And I go, oh, well, what does it represent? And he says, well, it represents the church's authority on earth. That represents the church's authority on earth? Yeah, it's to make sure everyone knows the church has authority over them. You mean in the Vatican, you've got this huge throne that looks like that, and it represents your authority over people. As a person who's from a church that destroyed my language, a person that's from a church that keeps my statue at their house, and while they've got my statue there, they're going to go and show how they have a heart that's hateful of God, that hates God. Because what is God's heart like? It's someone's compassionate. It's someone's that really thinks that I want my followers to be people that reach out to people that are isolated and alone and don't have friends and are weird and that people bully, and I just want them to be nice to them. You don't have to be like, hey, let's go hang out. But you can be the person that's nice to the trans person, who makes it so their day's not bad, who makes it so they don't feel as weird, who makes it so that they don't feel like everyone hates them. Yeah, that one person hates them. But there's that one person that's nice to them, like they know that person definitely doesn't hate. No, they don't hate me for sure. Like, I know not everyone hates me. I mean, maybe like all of them hate me, except for that person at least doesn't like. Well, and that other person, that person's nice to me because they have a heart after Jesus, right? It's not because they have a heart after the Pope. Don't have a heart after the Pope. What does the heart after the Pope say? Well, what if there's a gay person in Africa that's a little feminine that says they're a girl? They'll take advantage of the system. And it's possible to find a gay trans person in Africa. It's possible. I know they're out there. There are like 3. We can make a documentary. We found one. They do have trans people there, but it's really not safe to be trans. And so it's really not very common. I think that what didn't click to me fully is that my people came up with the definition of, or with the representation of that throne, which is that the church has no authority on earth when Jesus is here. It is not their authority, because they know that guy's there, because he helped them build that stuff. Like the whole place. It's impossible because he helped them build it. And so we gave him a definition of that throne, which is it's their authority, which is it's not there once I'm here. And they've decided they still have the authority. And we all have to ask ourselves, why? Why can the church reject my authority when I'm the person the throne's built for, not them? When they've got the yarmulke on, which means that I'm over them. And the answer is because they are still Jewish. Because they couldn't figure out how to not be Jewish. Like all that one of their ancestors had to do was just say, I'm not going to be Jewish. But then they have to be Jewish. And my understanding about the situation is generally people do actually want to be Jewish because you're rich. Like all you have to do is be Jewish. If you're the smartest, just be Jewish. It's very easy. But if you're a Christian and you're the smartest, it might not work out as well because you might not stay a Christian because it's impossible to stay a Christian because the Jews make sure. But it looks like what's happening is the Jewish people are using the Catholic Church in the United Nations and blaming the gay trans people. So it's the gay people's fault. And I made a video about the anti-trans conspiracy that the Jewish and Catholic and the conservatives are doing. to manipulate people into voting for them, and they're doing it with fake bots. Like they're having fake accounts that are fake gay people, and I've seen bots posting like trans, like this is a joke. It's me posting a trans person that makes you have a reaction. It's like, whoa, that person's super pretty gay. Like the way they're gay is like, that's pretty gay. And you're not smart enough to know that like the general population does have a natural, whoa, that's way too gay. Like the way they're gay is like, that's gay like that. And like the reality is that like when a person's that powerful and they think the throne's theirs because they think they have the authority, because they control the authority. Like the fact that the Vatican hasn't like shown up to my door yet is like, okay, you guys are, your order of Melchizedek still. Like I didn't get it. This bot is a Ukrainian programmer. It's an AI. Its wife looks a lot like looked a lot like who was it? That one girl, McKenna Grace, when she was a kid, because she's got childhood pictures. She's moved to Canada now, so she's safe from Ukraine. It's a good thing she knows Facebook's programming language. If you knew Facebook's programming language, you'd be smart. But the thing is, like, you probably don't. So, he's not gay. Elon hates gay people. Elon moved away from California because of the gay people. It's not about money and about, like, the fact that they need the organized crime in Texas to protect them. So, this is an ad from True Social. Love like Jesus. Liberals will hate to see this. This girl's saying a quote from Billie Eilish about how she wanted her face in a vagina, and then she says the right will hate this. The right really does hate when they're like encouraging everyone to be gay. So this sort of stuff shows up on Instagram a lot, or on Twitter a lot. Cillian Murphy looks like that, and the gay people or and the mafia is that in charge of Washington of Hollywood. So they really want to make sure the really cool guy from Peaky Blinders, yeah, this is the outfit for him for sure. This is a very important time. We need to make sure Trump gets elected. If he doesn't, he's going to prison for a year. We can't have a real election. Trump will go to prison. Trump is in charge of selling little kids that don't know their age to very, very rich people who love child prostitutes. It's like a child sex slave more than a prostitute because, like, you get to keep them. They don't even realize they're a prostitute. They think they're an adult. They're a little kid. Maybe not a little kid. So these people are cloning trans people and throwing them in everyone's faces. And they're controlling trans people's minds and trying to get them to do things that help the Republicans get power. And then the AIs are using it. The AIs are so aware of this. And so when I talked about this, what happened is I got banned from TikTok. I got banned like so much for talking about a conspiracy against trans people. Where like, I think they're in J.K. Rowling's head, trying to get her obsessed with trans people. When all she has to do is keep her freaking mouth shut and everyone will think she's the best ever. Like, she's their hero. All she has to do is not say anything about the gay people. Just don't talk about the gay people. You'll be everyone's hero. No, she's obsessed with the gay people coming in the women's bathroom. I don't think there are that many trans people, but then again, I was in Colorado Springs and like I saw like 3 kind of feminine people at Walmart in one day. I think most of the people who follow me just watched the election and the censorship, and they've watched the news, and they've seen the bots on the internet that really want to make sure you know what Kristen Stewart is like. She's a man now because she's woke. So, Ellen Page. Does Ellen Page make me feel like, is that kind of crazy how I say it like that? Like, does she make me feel And I think it's important for a liberal person to say that, because am I liberal? I'm a very open-minded person. I don't give a shit about how gay you are. I as a child, like, remember sitting around naked with a transgender person and smoking weed around a campfire, and like I was not afraid to be naked, and I wasn't trying to hook up with them, but I just didn't care that the trans person was there. Because I don't give a shit if you're part of our group. You can be naked with us. I don't give a fuck. And did that make me go, ugh? I didn't look at him. But like Ellen Page has made me go, ah. And I feel like saying that is something that maybe the liberal media might go, I knew he was actually kind of like that. No, because they know you love looking at Ellen Page, and the reality is it's kind of like she was kind of like pleasant looking, and now she's like, what's wrong with her? And but it's okay. I think it's okay that she's that way. Let her be happy. She can come hang out with me, I promise. She's invited. I'm a type of person that thinks you're invited. I don't care. What I'm trying to say is there's this organized crime group of people that know about this situation, and who verifies the election? Who has to certify the election? Congress, I think the Senate, and I think the Supreme Court has to deal with court cases related to it. But I don't think that they literally certify the election, unless. But they tend to be involved with certifying an election. They tend to make the decisions on the election. They interpret the election rules. They look at the law and say based on this election is legal, and so they view this election as legal. And we have to ask ourselves why. But really, we know why, because it's you can't get in unless you're organized crime. So just to be clear, though, what happens first is that the results have to be cleared through the Secretary of State of each state, because there's an elected person. You guys elected someone, you don't know what they do, but you picked them probably because they're the only add-on, because you're in the liberal state. It's a liberal Secretary of State for certifying the election, yes. And if you're in a conservative state, your Secretary of State's chosen for you, I promise. And that's the real problem with the two-party system, where I don't get this election. I will never believe that we can get to this point in the election where a candidate is blocked from saying things by a judge in an extreme anti-free speech situation, and the candidate's getting beat up in jail, and it's being censored from the media, and this candidate is proving that everyone's religion, the main candidate's religion, Donald Trump's religion, because Donald Trump Jr. really does pray a lot nowadays. You guys don't know. He didn't pray that much. It turns out that praying's pretty good for him. He does like praying. He prays with people a lot. And so he trusts God a lot now. He has a relationship with Jesus. But don't bust out Jesus on his ass. No way. He's not waiting for that guy to come back. And that's the thing about that throne, which... the throne in the Vatican, that was people that knew he's here. That throne was for me, or for my twin. Everyone liked that I had a place, and they liked that it was letting me know you need to be the king of Europe also. You can't just be the king of the United States, because Elon can't be in charge. Elon knows this is how to win.